Hey guys, so today we are going to be talking about how to wrap your knees correctly and safely so that you prevent as much as possible getting knee issues whilst you're under load. So let's talk about the wraps. The whole purpose of the wrap is to act as almost a fifth quad. We have a natural elasticity in our muscles, so when we come down and sit in that hole or come down, you'll feel that you want to spring back out, and that spring is what we call elasticity through the muscles. So it's like an elastic band. It wants to come back to being straight, right? So what the band, or what the wrist wraps, the knee wraps do is they act or they help exaggerate that bounce. So when you come down, you bounce out of the hole, and that's the purpose, right? So let's talk about how we can utilize this. Well, first things first, when we set this up, what we want to do is make sure that our quad is completely tense and our patella is tracking nicely. And the reason being is because if it's lax, then it'll start to move. And this is where we can find ourselves in some issues, is that you need to think of your patella as a train that's running over tracks, right? And when if the train was to start to, or when your patella starts to move slightly left or right of the grooves, it'll start to grind. And when it grinds, that's when the pain comes in. So we want to try and take that or eliminate that factor as much as possible out by simply contracting the patella or the quads, and that will lock the patella in nice and safely. So next, what we want to do is make sure that we are wrapping from the inside to the outside, and this also helps with the patella tracking. So once you start doing your squat and coming up and down, your patella will track in the right direction. So we're going to contract hard through the quads, and we're going to come around, and we're going to use your leg as a leverage point to take as much tension out of the wraps as possible. The tighter these wraps are, the more elasticity that you're going to get out of the bottom, and the more drive you're going to get, or the more pop out of the bottom you're going to get, and effectively you're going to potentially move more load. So we're going to contract the quad, patella stable, and we're going nice and tight. Now we only want to go one loop at the start. Before then we come up and we come in a cross section like this over the patella. All right, so again, we're going around by one and up and crossing over. And the reason being is because what connects our two bones, or our bones together, so not our three bones together, our femur and our fibula and tibia, is a cross-sectional like this, and that is you have a few. You have your posterior and your anterior cruciate ligaments, and they cross over like this, right? So what the crossover does when we wrap our knees is it mimics the cruciate ligaments that run across like this and across like that. So again, so we're carrying on. We'll go one loop across. Now, this is a bias thing. I actually like it to come a lot higher. If you think about logistically or logically, all you're trying to create stability through, or greater stability through, is your kneecap and your knee joint, right? Because obviously your quad's here to do most of the work, and this is your small part of your legs, especially if you have calf muscles, unlike me. So the idea is that you should just wrap around your knees, right? Just come just above the patella and just below. However, I actually like to come a lot higher, because when you get down to the bottom part, what you'll find is that in knee flexion, your band will sit here, just above the kneecap. Now, I like it to sit a little higher because it still feels that my knees are a lot more stable and we have a lot more to play with, but that's just personal preference. So again, so we're coming up and we're contracting the quad and we're creating a crossover. So we're going to go one around and underneath, and then number two is back down and around again. So now we have our cross-sectional, right? You can also do, if you really want to, you can come up and go across by one and then back down. But understand, the more that we cross it over, the more we waste the top and the bottom, the less thickness around the kneecap, or the place that we're trying to create the most stability out of, we miss out on. So let's try and not waste revolutions of the wrap. So again, I would come in, and I probably would go across by one, back down, and then the whole purpose is to cover the kneecap as much as possible, because again, we want to create as much thickness through the knee joint as possible. Now you can see I haven't leveraged off my knee, and that's how we're going to do it. So if we come back out again, and oh Jesus, have to go right around. Let's do this quickly and efficiently. Jeepers, what have I done here? Right, so we've come up for the first one, coming across, and we're going to leverage. So here we're going to pull and across. Again, pull and around, because we've already done 2 crosses, and pull and around. So at this point, when we have a bit of a tab and we've gone thick around the knee, that we want to just simply create a loop, push it through, pull hard again, and your knee is nice and tight and stable. And that is how we want to make sure that we do it. Now, when we get up, try not to do a whole heap of bending and squats. We want to get straight up. We're going to probably walk like we've got no bend in our knees and like we've got something jabbed up our backside, but that's exactly how we want to be, because we want to keep as much of the elasticity and tension through here without creating knee flexion and loosening it all up. And that there, team, is how you go about wrapping your knees so that you can execute the most amount of weight as possible.